Casino dealers. What is the saddest and craziest thing you have ever witnessed? Story 1. Been in the casino industry for about 14 years. Dealt for about 8 of those. I have since moved up and am in management now. The saddest thing I've seen is death. Death by itself is tragic and rare, and seeing someone keel over from a heart attack is sad to say the least. But you are trained and ordered to never stop dealing if there are bets that need to be paid or taken. Case in point, a normal, slightly overweight guy has a heart attack. He drops. It happened across from me in a different pit, but I saw it just the same. Concerned crowd, EMTs arrive, all of what you would expect. But he had this misfortune of dying on a live craps table. In the middle of a good roll. People complained that the game stopped, so they kept the game going as EMTs were doing their thing. People were straight stepping over the guy's legs to place bets. In St. Louis, if you are curious. I've seen 2 other people die in my casinos, but this one was the saddest by far. Story 2. A friend told me once while he was gambling at a blackjack table, Regina Casino, with a number of other players, a guy sits down and immediately bets $20. Apparently he is bleeding from cuts on his arm and face and is literally dripping blood on the table. Seconds later, a security team is behind him about to drag him away. It seems this bleeding guy just mugged someone in the parking lot, got hurt during the process but was able to get some money off the victim. The blackjack round was finished and he was dragged away. My friend was shocked that they didn't stop the game. Perhaps there's some casino rule that once a round starts it must be completed. Story 3. I am a no-limit Texas Hold'em poker dealer. I dealt a game a fortnight ago that was pound 500 minutes sit down and 5,000 pounds max. It was a £2 per £5 blind game with a mandatory £10 straddle. Guy who is running the game gets a phone call halfway through the first hour. There is silence at the table, as the guy mouths to us silently, "It's the Greek." The Greek is a legend among the players apparently. A total degenerate gambler with more money than sense. Okay guys. The Greek is coming, he's in for £5,000. Basically everyone stopped playing until he got there. I would deal a hand and everyone would fold or a small pot would be won. I wasn't even raking the game lol. The Greek sits down with £5,000. First hand, he doesn't look at his cards and open raises to £200. Over the course of the next 30 minutes, he punts off £5,000 around the table to almost everyone. He insta-reloads another £5,000. And then another. He's dumped around £12,000 into this game. Everyone is super deep stacked in winnings off this guy. He doesn't seem bothered, in fact he seems happy and to be enjoying himself. We are all confused. Apparently this guy is prone to huge blow-ups and tantrums when he doesn't win. I overheard the game owner talking to him on a break from the game. Turns out he had an inoperable brain tumor and he was enjoying his last few months. I felt sad for the dude because he was a lovely guy and was generous, but also because he chose to spend one of his last nights gambling a card table in an underground poker room, when he could be spending quality time with his family etc. Story 4. I wasn't a dealer but I used to work security at a casino. I remember a relatively wealthy couple explaining to me that they sold their fridge and stove so that they could use the money to keep gambling. They said they had no need for them because the casino comped them so many meals. All I could think of was how sad of people they were. This one for some reason bothers me more than anything though. Seeing a mother leave her children at the entry gate so she could gamble. This was like 2:30 a.m. and the children were something like 4 and 16. We told her numerous times to take them home but she wouldn't. We contacted DCI, state troopers basically that are always on property, to come and talk to her. Because the 16-year-old was watching the other child, they couldn't do anything. We also had a policy that if they were at the table games, the pit boss had to make the call to kick her out. He wouldn't because she was spending too much. I just watched as these kids sat on a bench for hours waiting for their mom. They complained they were hungry and thirsty but I couldn't do much more than get a waitress to grab a soda. Story 5. I think it's important to emphasize that machine gambling is just as addictive, awful as live gambling. I used to be a cook. We had a dishwasher that was probably 50 years old. He seemed normal and smart, which was weird because usually someone that old washing dishes for a living has obvious problems. When waiters bring plates back to the dishwasher, They dumped the remaining food into the garbage and stacked them. We noticed this guy kept Togo containers by the dishwasher and would scrape whatever food scraps were still on the plates into the containers before he put the dishes in the washer. Thought nothing of it the first time I saw it because some people would save scraps for their dogs every once in a while. But this guy would do it throughout his whole shift every day, ending up with like 3 full containers of scraps. After he worked there for a while and people got to know him, we were horrified to learn that he was saving the scraps for himself. That's what he lived on. When he got paid, he would cash his paycheck and take it to the casino. Then blow all the money on video keno in a matter of hours. Every single time. This guy was so addicted to gambling that he had resigned to living off other people's food scraps even though he worked 40 hours per week. Those containers were filled with small bits of steak, chicken off salads, half-eaten quesadillas, mozzarella sticks, pasta, vegetables, etc. All mixed together. Off dozens of people's used plates. Makes me want to puke just thinking about it. No idea how he paid rent. I assume he was living somewhere rent-free. Story 6. Had a guy who had a heart attack while he was playing on a roulette table and passed out on the ground. People were literally stepping over and on him just continue placing their bets. All of the staff just stood there in disbelief while we waited for security to arrive to help him up and call an ambulance. The punters didn't see anything wrong with what they were doing. Some of them were actually annoyed because he was lying on the ground in front of them. Story 7. One night I'm dealing blackjack to this lady. She pulls out a picture frame of her son, puts it on the table, and says it's for good luck. We're playing and she's losing horribly, doesn't seem like the picture is working. We're talking back and forth and I asked her if her son was in college or if he was working. She replies that her son is dead. Before I can even say I'm sorry, she says yeah, my son is dead, that's why I'm here trying to win money for his funeral. WTF. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more crazy stories.